everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a little more than a week, but I've been so busy giving readings, and I just want to bring it up again. If you ever see anybody like impersonating me, saying like trying to get you to have a reading with me or something, I don't do that. I saw that it just happened again to another YouTuber. I mean, I am booked through much of the spring. There is only one way to get a reading with me, and that's to go to my website, dianeaquarius.com. But yeah, please, if you ever see anybody soliciting to give you a reading, it's not me. And please let me know, because the last time I was in an airport, you know, in Egypt when it happened. So this week I've been really busy getting ready to go to Mexico next weekend, which is really exciting. A lot of you have been asking about Annie, and we finally have more of a concrete diagnosis. I've been really pushing for more and more blood work. And so after doing all of that, she has something called the Khaleesi virus, and it's more of like a respiratory virus in nature. And that's probably what's going on with her eye. And so now we can treat it a bit better. And as you probably know, my brother takes care of her anyways. You know, even if I'm here, he's still here taking care of her. So when I'm in Mexico, at Chichen Itza, at the pyramids, which, you know, I'll be bringing you some lives from there. Members will be doing some raw channelings. That'll be fun. And, but I think she's doing better. Her eye actually looks pretty good now. You know, we've been fighting 7 medicines a day. We've been fighting to keep her eye. So it's just amazing how fast like a virus can take over, you know, a small animal like that. But she's getting better. She's hanging in there. Okay. And so is Maggie, my mother's cat. She's doing great. You know, no issues with her. She's just full of her normal catitude. At the end of this video, we'll do the 3-card pull where I will use Radley Valentine's Fairy Tarot. And I think that'll get you some good answers. So members, before I forget, members, 2 things. One, Saturday for the Going Beyond members, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, I'll be doing the Angel Tarot, where I pick 25 of you and I give you a personal reading. And everyone's been asking me about book club. So I decided to do the 90-day gratitude journal by Bento C. Leal. And you can get this right on Amazon, but I'm sure you can get it in other places too. And we will do this when I get back from Mexico in December. Okay, so in the beginning of December, we'll start to go through this, really focusing on gratitude, because that's really how you manifest, isn't it? You will have a new starseed video this week. And for the tapping with the chakras, this is going to be, the next video is going to be on the Sacral Chakra. Okay, so working on trying to bring back like your love for life and your motivation and your passion and your joy and that sort of thing. So without further ado, you have all asked me a bunch of questions here because I told you I was making a new video, and as always, you guys deliver. So I will go with the ones that get the most likes, even though they're not in order. So I will do my best. So Puka Rabbit wants to know, I'd be curious to know if the U.S.'s recent reopening of international flights with 33 countries will contribute to any spikes in the Delta or other variants during the winter holidays travel season. I think it's going to be okay. That's what my gut is saying, because I saw the precautions that they're going to take, and intuitively I'm feeling like it's okay. You know, like when I was saying Ra was talking about the Kai variant, they're looking at the big picture, the long haul, not just the next year or two. Okay. So why don't I pull a few cards to see if it's going to cause a spike? Okay. Because I can tell you, even me going to Mexico, I cannot re-enter this country until I can prove that I don't have the virus. So that is really important. And that is one of the prerequisites. So, and likewise, for me to get into Mexico, I am needing to prove that I am vaccinated. So, you know, everyone's taking precautions, and it's not perfect, that's for sure. But let's see what the cards have to say. What do we need to know, Spirit? What do we need to know? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be fine. I don't see really anything that I need to worry about. So the first card, coming up with a good plan, a good strategy. And I think that's what we're doing, carefully assessing things. The obstacle is that some people still have stress, worry, and anxiety, but I also think that's not necessarily an obstacle, but it's appropriate. And if that helps to keep us safe, then so be it, right? Ace of Cups. So, us seeing our friends again, us being together again, having friendships and that sort of thing. And then literally the card of like traveling, their backs are turned, they're going, and they're going towards smoother waters. So I think it's going to be okay. I'm not saying that we'll never have another spike, but, because of course we're going to, but I don't think it's going to make it any significantly worse. I'll put it that way. Okay. Lynn asks, are the backdrop people that Dolores Cannon spoke about real? No. So one of the things that Dolores Cannon, because I've read all of her books, say you read the first Convoluted Universe, okay? You will see that somebody's higher self says this, and then somebody's higher self says the exact opposite. And then she talks to an ET who says a third thing. And she talks about that, and she's very open and very frank about it, that all the information she gets is different and it's not always reliable. So the person, Lynn, says, Cannon described them as not having souls. That is a horrible, terrible concept that we need to shut down. Every single human being that you encounter has a soul, and every soul is precious. You need to treat them as if you would want to be treated the way that you're treating them. Because it's very dangerous when you start saying, oh, well, they don't have a soul, so I can do this, I can do that. That's dangerous. We don't directly interact with them, and they serve as extras in our cosmic movie. Yeah, and they contribute to long lines at the airport or backed up freeways. No, of course not. I think she got a lot of things right, but that is one of them that I can pull a few cards on it. But no, I don't believe that there are fake people and that we're living in an actual computer program where there's somebody programming fake people into our world. I don't. I've done channelings with the Raw Collective on this, and they have never once ever said that to me. And they've actually said the opposite. So no, I don't believe it's true. And until something happens that makes me say otherwise, I'm going to stick with that. The first card that I get is the Death card. And I'm just going to leave it at that, I guess. Yeah, it's a dead subject. It just isn't real. It just isn't. Okay, Jay Brown. Will there be a time when our elected congressmen and women are willing to work with each other? Wouldn't that be lovely? Imagine that, right? Come to compromises and are able to have intelligent, truthful discussions and decisions that are good for the good of the people in our country, and not just in lockstep with parties and special interest groups. Yes, because that is very much part of going towards fourth density, to living towards your heart chakra, to understanding that we are all one. Right now we are Democrats and Republicans, very rigid, very duality centered. And that is going to go away eventually. Is it going to happen today or tomorrow? No, of course not. But that is going to go away. So let's pull a few cards on that, see what we get. Interesting cards. So the first one, the Judgment card, we will go through a rebirth and renewal. That is one of the meanings of this card. So we will. Are we there yet? No. Is it going to take a bit? Yes. But is it coming? Absolutely. I mean, here is Archangel Gabriel, summoning people to be reborn. And that's where we're heading. The obstacle is that there are these politicians that are juggling money, and we can even add juggling money overseas, right? We've seen this card before. We know how this works. So yeah, part of the problem is there is way too much money involved. But look, we're in for a time of enlightenment, a new beginning, a time of innocence and purity, where we come into our karmic destiny, our fate. And, the Wheel of Fortune is spinning. and it's spinning towards enlightenment and a new beginning. So it's going to happen, but we just need to be patient. We do. Things will get better. There is a huge light. Not just is there a light at the end of the tunnel, the light is beautiful. It's brilliant. It's gigantic. We're heading there. But I know for most of us, we just want to be there now. Mary Jo asks, how is Saki doing post her virus positive diagnosis? So you probably know that, Jen had the virus. She handles her role amazingly. She does. The way she handles the press, the way she stands up there and takes those questions. I think she represents Biden beautifully. Will she pursue a future role in politics? So 2 very separate questions. I think she's going to be fine, first of all. So I think she's going to be making a full recovery because why? Well, she was already vaccinated. So let's look if she's going to pursue a role in politics. She is very poised and she has some good comebacks. She's smart. And she has a nice way about her. She has a way with words. Even when people aren't being so nice to her. So there will be offers. So here's the thing. So there will be offers. Okay. Here's the knight in shining armor with that wonderful chalice that's full of opportunities. She will have the opportunity, but does she want to disrupt her life? She may like her family, her home life, all of that the way it is. And so her outcome is she is very undecided. She has not made any decisions. And so what I would say is where she is getting a 2, especially 2 of wands, she is so far away from that happening that you can't really read on it because it's just way too out in the future. She can choose a different timeline if she chooses. So the possibilities are there. And that's probably why you asked that question, Mary. So, but yeah, the possibilities there. And I think she would be more than adequate. Jane asks, is there ever going to be a ban on cruel factory farming of animals? Yes, because it's not part of 4th density, but is it going to happen today or tomorrow? No. It upsets me my whole life to know how animals are suffering at the expense of human consumption. Yes. So there are already a lot more regulations being put into place. Now we're having something called meatflation, where the price of meat is going through the roof. So isn't like dairy. And I think that's just part of us evolving and changing, but it needs to happen slowly because we're all on different paths. You can't just force somebody to go vegetarian, right? Nobody forced me. And if somebody had, would I have been receptive? Probably not. So you have to let people come to their own conclusions at their own time. And so, yes, I do feel like that is the case. Why don't we pull a couple of cards? Annie just came in and she's sitting across from me now, washing her ears, which is good because, for a long time, she really wasn't washing. So that's a wonderful sign. So while we're reading on animals, she came in. Okay. So we get the card of like really nothing happening that much. So yeah, there's a few laws and legislations and that kind of thing that's being passed. Like they're trying to push the law where, chickens that lay eggs, the hens that lay eggs, need to be able to spread their wings when they're in those cages. Things like that, because most of them aren't even allowed to spread their wings, right? So we're making small progress, but this is the card of retreat, withdrawal, pulling back, that kind of thing. But it's also the card of being introspective and reflective, and people are starting to think differently. The problem is some people are not going to be happy with this. And I think that's why it needs to happen slowly and intelligently, methodically, that sort of thing. Here comes, the King of Swords. He's very fair and balanced. He's ethical. He's moral. That sword is double-edged for a reason. It means that he sees both sides of the issue. However, victory and triumph and all that sort of thing is coming. But once again, I don't feel like it's today or tomorrow. It needs to happen in a certain way, I feel. And I don't think it's going to happen overnight. Okay. J Rock, why is China, this is a great question, by the way, Jay. Why is China causing a panic in their own country over supplies, telling people to stockpile? Is there something bigger at play strategically other than assumed virus impacts to the economy and bad finance decisions? Yeah, to me, this feels very contrived, very pre-calculated, rather unnecessary. And of course, too, I mean, it'll make sales go up, right? So their economy is probably booming at the moment because, well, now their shelves are empty. But you have to remember, a country doesn't do what China just did without a reason, okay? And I think it has less to do with the Chinese people than it does with us and the rest of the world. We've become extremely dependent on them. And so now we're worried, are we going to get the things that we need because now they're suffering? So yeah, I don't think it's real per se. I'm not saying they're not having any supply issues, but to that extent, it doesn't feel real to me. This feels very manipulated. Let's pull a few cards. Okay, let's take a peek. Interesting. Oh, these cards are interesting. Take a look at this. So this was a very governmental official decision to do this. This wasn't anything that was warm or fuzzy. This was contrived by the government. And let me just add, when I talk about China, I'm not talking about the Chinese people, because you know what? They're victims just like the rest of us to our governments. You know, I can complain about the Chinese government and still love Chinese people, which I do. Just like I complain about, you know, our government, especially the last 4 years that we had. But I still love American people. So I just want to be really abundantly clear about that. Their obstacle, though, it's not going to turn out quite how they wanted it to. This is not going to have the effect they wanted it to. Their dreams and wishes aren't going to come true, right? The star card, when you wish upon a star, that's their obstacle. Their wishes are not coming true. But look at this. So here they are fighting alone on a hill by themselves, this government, you know, trying to one up everybody. Why? Because they're trying to get away with something. They're trying to get away with something. And so that's the feeling that I was getting, that this isn't a real issue. This is more manipulated and done intentionally. Okay. Oh, and I should also say, I feel so badly that I was not with Hogarth and Lady G on Saturday. I was all set and ready to go. But Hogarth didn't show up, and he didn't show up for a great reason, because in England, they had already changed their clocks. So he was ready to go an hour later, but I had already made plans for that time. And so, yeah, you know what? Sometimes things just happen, but I do love being with them. And I'm so sorry that I missed that on Saturday. Goodness gracious. Tracy asks, will the National Archives hand over items on Friday that Trump is desperately trying to protect? Yeah, I mean, we do know that now, right? There's 700 pages that are going to be handed over. It did get ruled against 45. And it needed to happen, because he keeps saying executive privilege, you know, again, executive privilege, again and again and again. It's like, well, you're not president anymore. And so he really just kind of needs to stop that. And it even said, the judge even said, a president is not a king. Why do we have to say that in almost 2022 in the US? That is very concerning to me. So I can't read on that, because we already know that's going to happen. So why don't I read on what's going to happen from that? Because I don't think it's going to be in his favor. Why would he work that hard, that diligently to block this? You know, that's not an accident. That's not an accident at all. I mean, that wasn't just something trivial on his part. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so this is rather interesting. This is a very fertile new beginning where we get all sorts of information. Not the kind of new beginning that 45 would want us to have. For him, his obstacle is complete loss. He is losing it all. So not a good sign for him. But take a look at this. Here he is all alone fighting the judicial system. And that's not how he wants to be. That's not how he wants to be seen or presented. And that's certainly not how he wants to feel. But here he is all alone trying to fight the inevitable, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay. Al asks, many astrologers have talked about how November and December are going to be transitional times due to Pluto's return. Can you read on what may be in store for the US? Let's take a peek. Because I do feel like this is a very energetic time. I'm feeling lots and lots of energy. I don't know about you. Some days you feel like you have lots of energy. Other days you're feeling kind of tired. Your sleep is getting disrupted. And that's what happens when a lot of things are happening in our skies, right? So let's see how this is going to impact the US this month and next. Okay, let's take a peek. So it's kind of a period where we're feeling stuck. That's how I would interpret this. So 2 of Wands, we're trying to figure things out. It makes us really start to reflect. It makes us go inwards, I would say, okay? And try to figure out what it is that we want next. What do we want next as individuals? What do we want next as a country? The obstacle is we are feeling stuck. And in this reading, we're getting 2 cards where you're feeling stuck. So yes, there's a lot of energy, but we're not feeling all that motivated, like energized, where you want to do something. Sometimes I think energy can be too much and it makes you feel paralyzed, right? Sort of like the Hanged Man. And so the other thing to remember, though, is, if she had the blindfold off, she could see reality for what it is. His leg is free. He can free himself. He's doing this to himself. So if you find yourself in this energy, make sure that you're not just doing it to yourself. Okay. And ultimately, we're going into a period where we're very analytical and intellectual. We're trying to be more fair, balanced, moral, ethical, those sort of things. And it'll maybe make us question, I think, our ethics and our morals and everything like to do with racism, inequality, injustice, prejudices, the things that really bother most of us. It's going to really make us stop and think by the time we're done with November and December. Okay. So even though we may feel a bit stuck here and there, I think the outcome is positive. Okay. Okay, Jackie asks, with more congressional subpoenas being filed against more of 45's inner circle, why hasn't Merrick Garland brought in Bannon for contempt? Good question. Yeah, he is moving extremely slowly. Why don't we take a peek at that? Because he is going very, very slowly with all of this. But I've also said, too, that I get the sense that he is trying to be methodical. He is trying to do things the right way because you know how 45 deals with things. That is the sense that I've always gotten. So let's take a peek at Merrick, Mr. Garland. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I mean, these cards are really, let me just ask Spirit. Okay. All right. I think I know how to read these. Okay. So I think the High Priestess is Merrick Garland. The High Priestess keeps everything to herself. She has hidden motives, secret agendas. She is very quiet the way she moves. She moves about very quietly, almost like an introvert, but also sort of like a magician. You know how like magicians never share their secrets, that sort of thing. And I think that's the vibe. And honestly, when I read him, that is the vibe that I'm getting. Like, he actually is doing things. It's just we don't know what they are. And the obstacle is he is very carefully assessing, reassessing. And I keep just wanting to say reassessing. Like, I just want to sit here and say reassessing, reassessing, reassessing. So he is going around and around and around in his mind. That's what I'm getting. So that is an obstacle. He does need to pull out of that energy, obviously. He is forming relationships with other people to help him do this. He is not in it alone. And Page of Wands, we're going to be hearing something, right? Pages deliver news. We will be hearing something, so sit tight. Okay? That's the sense that I get. We're going to be hearing something, so sit tight. And I just know it's not as fast as any of us want. I get that. Okay. Let me just scroll down a little bit. A lot of the questions are very similar, so I'm not going to go there. Okay, so Sharon asks, are there still sealed indictments from the Mueller report? Right? Because that's not ever gone anywhere, right? It's still there. And will those people be indicted? Let's take a look. I haven't read on the Mueller report for what feels like a million years, but let's take a peek. What do we need to know about the Mueller report? Is there anything else that we're going to glean from this? Very interesting. Okay. 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 So, yeah. Okay. So, Ace of Wands, a new beginning. All aces are about new beginnings. So, yeah, there's new things that we're going to be finding out, which is fantastic. The obstacle is the unknown. There are things that we just don't know about. And that's basically what your question is. Like, are there things that we don't know about? Yes, there are things that we don't know about. Now, watch this. Here's my card for Biden. And then we get a card to reinforce it, the Emperor. And so I'm going to say Biden knows what's what. A few tricks up his sleeve. He knows what's going on. And so I think he is going to have to make a decision. Let me see what happens if I go one card out, though. Okay, I'll go 2 cards out even. I'm taking the next 2. Part of Biden wants to walk away from all of this and not deal with it. Yeah, this feels like Biden to me. Because he wants a lot of stability. So now, are we going to pull out of this moon energy? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, you know. And I saw some of you were asking too on here and there about the governor's race in Virginia. Well, you know, I never said, you know, that the Democrat was going to win, did I? And I got a lot of like hate mail and upset people telling me they can't sleep at night now and they're going to unsubscribe. And I get what I get. It was way too close and it came down to very few voters showing up, doing the right thing and that sort of thing. And so that is what it is. Judith asks, will the January 6th commission get their investigations done before the 2022 elections? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, look at that. The truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. Here is the sword of truth. It's an ace. It's a new beginning for us. So yes, the truth is coming out. The obstacle, this is the slowest card in the deck, the Knight of Pentacles. So the obstacle is they're being slower than slow. So is the truth going to come out? Yes. Are they going to do it in time? They need to actually be one of the other knights. I mean, this is the only knight that all 4 hooves on that horse are planted. So, but we are going to find things. Oh, okay. About relationships, dealings, contracts with, you know who this is my card for if you've been watching me. So 45's dealings with others. That is what's going to be coming out. The things that he knew, that he made plans with others. That is what will be coming out. Elizabeth asks a great question. I really like this question, Elizabeth. Is there any reality to the Native American practice of the rain dance? Can an individual or a group of people change the intensity or trajectory of a storm with their intention/consciousness? What is the relationship between human consciousness and the weather? Well, we are all one. So we are one with the planet. We are one with our atmosphere. But, you know, the thing is, do I think it's necessarily any specific words that they're saying or specific dance moves? No, what I would say is it's their intention. It's sort of like in the Bible when they say, you know, when 2 or more people are gathered in prayer, you know, that kind of thing. So it's when people are gathered together that things can happen, right? Because your energy is laser focused towards one thing. And everything is energy, including the weather. The weather is extremely energetic. And so can we, if we get together? Yes. Do I think like one person would have a lot of success? That could be a bit hard. I'm not going to say it's impossible. But if a group of people are very like-minded and they're focusing their energy like a laser towards something that's energetic, like the weather, you can, I do believe, influence the outcome. So I do think the Native Americans always knew that. And I think that's a wonderful energy that they've always been tapped into. Marie asks, will Colin Kaepernick ever play in the NFL again? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. The other thing too that I just want to say is, you know, thank you to all the veterans that have served. You know, my dad was a veteran in the Korean War. He was in the Army Air Corps. He's the one that, you know, would jump behind enemy lines and do all those crazy things. So, you know, thank you for everyone for your service. I did give the veterans a pizza party with the money you had given me from when I was in Egypt, when I did that live. And for today, I sent them like huge boxes because they always want the same things. They're so funny. They want name brand sodas, name brand candies, name brand cookies and chips. They want some snacks. And you know what? That is such a human normal thing. And so I sent them huge boxes of snacks. So yes. So thank you, all my veterans. I know I have a lot of veterans that watch this. So let's take a look at Colin Kaepernick. My first instinct is to say no. He's not going to play in the NFL again. That's actually my first instinct. That's kind of, my gut is telling me no. But at the same time, I still think he's going to have a great life. I think he's maybe destined for something greater than football. Even though I know you can make the argument that it's not fair. That I understand. But at the same time, I think his eyes are on a bigger prize at the same time. You know what I mean? Interesting. I mean, basically what the cards are saying, it really hasn't been decided, but the outcome probably isn't good. So, okay. So yeah, it hasn't been decided. 2 of Swords at a crossroads, need to make a decision. Yeah, I mean, the NFL needs to figure this out. But here they are sitting with the blindfold on, not quite knowing what to do, not wanting to make that decision, afraid of losing some of their faithful viewers, i.e. money. And so, yeah, it has not been decided. The problem is they're also not taking control, right? The Magician is just like the Chariot card in that sense. It's about taking control, using your power in a very focused way. And that's what they're not doing. And so here they are sitting there contemplating, trying to figure things out. while also trying to get away with something. And I think we kind of get the message, right? I don't know how much more I need to elaborate on this. I think you get the picture that it probably will not happen, because they want to try to please everyone. But in trying to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, right? That's just how life works. Okay. Mel asks, what does it mean when spirits all of a sudden start talking to you, even though it doesn't always make sense? Well, it means your guides and angels are trying to give you messages. Is it an opportunity to elevate to another dimension? Well, it's an opportunity to raise your vibration to that of the other side, right? That's what all of my classes in my membership program are about. Or to develop your intuition to help people. Absolutely. Everybody is psychic. Everybody's intuitive. That's why I made the programs that I made, because it's not that I'm anything special. It's just I was never discouraged from doing it. And I had some good teachers. I would always read lots of books, do whatever I could. But everybody can do this. Wondering if this is happening to others? Absolutely, because the veil is thinning. The veil is thinning. And so, yes, we're getting more and more messages. Those are your guides. That's why I made the Meet Your Spirit Guide class, where I take you step by step to meet your spirit guide. I did the angel class for the same reason, where I have you working with most of the archangels and several of the Shem angels. So yes, absolutely. Plus I also have the mediumship and the channeling classes too. But this is exactly why, because you know what, Mel, you're not the only one. You're not. Nobody is. Okay. Let's see. I'll do one more. Okay, maybe I'll do two more. KR asks, I think that because we have an internet, other alien civilizations will also have their own internet. Yeah, what I've seen is absolutely amazing. It makes us look like cavemen, from what I can see from my channeling sessions. Are we humans ever going to discover some type of galactic internet used by other civilizations? Yes. And that will help us to become one. Because think about how much the internet has united us. Here I am sitting in New England, on the Atlantic over here. And, I know I have viewers all over the world. It's connecting us. I know it can also be used for negative, but so can't everything. But at the same time, technology can be an amazing tool that connects all of us. Okay. Inix asks, when did I start on my psychic journey? 3 or 4 years old. Was I scared when I started experiencing? Yes, I've talked about that. Yeah, I was very scared when I started experiencing paranormal activities. I kind of shut down my ability to be clairvoyant, where I'm physically seeing things. I get, images, but yeah, I saw a lot of scary things at night, and it wasn't pleasant. There was a lot of good, but when you're a child, you get scared. How did my family react? Honestly, even though they were sort of in denial, they're all the same way. Chances are, if you are very intuitive or psychic or whatever you want to call it, you have other people in the family the same way. They're all the same way. So they knew. I mean, we were all seeing and hearing things, and, especially in this house. Okay. Let me do one more. Oh, this is a good one, Deborah. You and millions of others suffer from fibromyalgia and other chronic fatigue syndrome. So do I, and I've talked about this. I spend most of my time at home and in bed. I did that. Yep. It feels like you have a bad case of the flu. Yes. Is there a cure for this? I don't know if there's an absolute cure, but I know it snapped me out of it, because I was going down that path. Now, I'm one of the few people that they actually believe they know how I got fibromyalgia. So it's a very starseed trait to get mononucleosis, and to not always have a full recovery. And so, like, my white blood cell count is always too high, for instance. And so the thing that pulled me out of it, because the thing that bothered me the most with fibromyalgia was that it was interfering with my ability to do ballet, and that wasn't acceptable. I turned to spirit because there are no medications for this. There isn't. I wish there was. There's no medications, right? And so I started working with the angels, and I started channeling them, not just talking to them. I want you to listen to me carefully. This is what I did. Channeling. Because when you channel a 6th density or even 5th, some angels like Metatron or 7th, you are pulling your vibrations out of the sickness. Okay. So the Ra that I channel, they're also in the angelic realm. They're in the 6th density realm. When you every single day wake up 3-4 o'clock in the morning, which I know, I mean, I made up every excuse about why I couldn't do that until I got sick of saying I couldn't do it anymore. And then I did it. And so once I was done with that, I really started to pull myself up out of it. And I started to become whole and healthy because you're energized. They are recalibrating you. You have to be a vibrational match to whatever you channel. And so I'd much rather be a vibrational match to the angelic realm than to fibromyalgia or any other chronic fatigue syndrome or illness. Does it take a lot of work? Oh, like you have no idea. But what do you have to lose? That's the other thing. You already know how your life is now. So what do you have to lose? Try it. That's one of the reasons I designed the channeling course. It wasn't just for people who wanted more information. It was also for people who weren't well. It works. You can't be both in the realm of the angels and in the realm of illness. It's pretty much impossible. So I say give it a try. Channel them. Let them speak through you. Okay? Okay. Let's do the 3-card pull. This is the Fairy Tarot from Radley Valentine. Take a deep breath, relax, and think about whatever is bothering you the most. What is the most pressing thing that you're dealing with right now? What is it? And then which card are you drawn to? 1, 2, or 3? Go with your gut. Here we go. Card number 1, 7 of Summer. No more procrastinating. Your power comes from making a decision. It is so much worse sometimes to stay indecisive because then you do nothing and nothing gets accomplished. Confusion that arises from over-analyzing the options. It's nice to be like the Queen of Swords when she's upright, but when she's reversed or in the obstacle position, you're stuck in like that overthinking, over-analyzing, and you're in your head and nothing's happening in your life. So no more procrastinating. Make a decision, okay? And stick to it and then take action, okay? Okay, number 2, 7 of Autumn. Kind of a pretty card. Have patience and don't worry. You know, sometimes it's when you let go and you just trust in the universe that things happen. Take time to rest and plan your next steps. A prudent investment of time or money. So be a bit more reflective and introspective, but also don't try to race through anything either, okay? Sometimes it's when you let go that you allow the magic of the universe to work through you, okay? So lastly, number 3, Ace of Spring. It's time to take action. Be fearless and happily pursue your most treasured dreams, amazing career opportunities. So don't get stuck in the planning phase. Don't keep thinking about it. Once you've made your decision, go with it and then move on. And sometimes you have to be fearless. Like when I talk about me going to Cambodia, I did my research. I was very logical about things. Was I scared? Yes. But I also said to myself, I'm going to feel the fear, but do it anyways. And I don't think you should just jump into things. You know, I did a lot of research. I talked to a lot of Americans that were over there, that sort of thing. But feel the fear, but do it anyways. Once you've done your research, there's opportunities waiting for you. Okay? All right, everyone. It was an absolute pleasure. I love making these videos for you. And I will see you again on Saturday on Hogarth's channel, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Bye, everyone.